Hello, and welcome to Getting Going on Azure with DataGriff. And today we're going to be looking at deploying a virtual machine with an ARM template. And the ARM template we can get from the Azure Quick Start. So the first thing you need to do is navigate to this URL, which I've posted with the video. And then what this gives you is a host of templates that people have already created. And you can just search for them, anything that you fancy. So I'm going to look for a proof of concepts synapse template, for example, just because I'm interested in data. So if I'm going to search for Synapse, and you can see there is in fact an Azure Synapse proof of concept template that I can just select and use right now. What we're going to do is just create a simple Windows VM. So let's see if they've got one of those. So I'm going to type in Windows simple VM and search for that. And if I scroll down, you can see there is in fact deploy a simple Windows VM. So somebody's already made that template for us, which is great. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to choose deploying to Azure, which should take me through to my portal. Great, so we've got the Azure Quick Start template, and this looks like a fairly familiar sort of virtual machine basic configuration going on. But what we've also got now is this template. So I'm going to click Edit Template, and this then takes us to the JSON behind the Azure Resource Manager template. And so the top portion of this are all the parameters that feed into the ARM, which will make it a bit more dynamic. So we can scroll through, and you can see for the OS version, the default value is 2019 Data Center, but it also has a list of allowed values as well, to make sure you don't make any mistakes. So we keep scrolling down, they're all the parameters. Then we've got variables, which are constants within our ARM template. And then finally we get to the resources, and these are all the resources that are needed for our virtual machine infrastructure. So we can see we've got storage accounts, we've got a public IP address, we've got some NSGs, we've got virtual network with subnets, we've got some network interfaces, and then finally we've got virtual machines as well. So that makes up the entirety of our ARM template to deploy our virtual machine. Now all we want to do is actually amend the virtual machine name, and we can do that by on the left hand side, expanding parameters, clicking VM name, and this takes us to the appropriate location in the ARM template. So instead of simple VM as the default value, I'm just going to change this to be my VM01. I'm going to click Save. And if I scroll down, you can see the VM name is now my VM01 because it's picked that up from the parameters. So what we're going to do now is just enter in our configuration for our virtual machine. We're going to create a new resource group. And I'm just going to call this my VM01 RG, with RG standing for resource group. I'm going to click OK. And change the region to be somewhere close to me. So I'm going to change this to be North Europe. The admin username, I'm just going to have as admin Griff. The admin password, I'm going to enter as an appropriate password. The DNS label prefix, that's something that the ARM template is going to make for us, and that's one of the variables that we'll find in the ARM template. So you can see it's made up of the VM name, the resource group ID, and the VM name. So the public IP name, I'm going to leave just as my public IP. I'm going to leave that as it is. I'm going to leave all of the other parameters as they are. The location is going to be the resource group location. So you can see that's also a variable being passed in, and that's just going to pick up the same region as North Europe there. So I'm going to click Next, Review and Create. And once this passes validation, which it has, I'm just going to check over my configuration values, which look fine, and I'm going to click Create. So this will start deploying the simple Windows virtual machine template that we've taken from the Quick Start template. This will take a few moments. Great, our deployment is complete. So now we're going to go to our resource group, which contains our virtual machine. There we go. So we can see all our resources are being created as part of the template that we chose. So we've got the storage account, the NSG, the virtual machine, the disks, the public IP address, the network interface, and the virtual network. So all this is provided for us by those templates. Now what we're going to do is go to the activity log, and we're just going to see the operations that have been applied to this resource group. And there you go. You can see that the operations that we just did, so the update the resource group, the validate the deployment, the create another disk, all of this can be seen in the activity log. So any changes that are being made to this resource group, we can have a look at in here. So I'm going to click Overview again. And we're going to go to our virtual machine. And we can see that this is running because the start is grayed out. We can click Stop if we wanted to stop the virtual machine. We can also restart it from here in the portal as well if we wanted. I'm going to click Monitoring. And under Monitoring, you can see that this has just begun. These are all the graphs and the metrics that you need to look at to see what's going on your virtual machine currently. And that's how you create a virtual machine using the Quick Start template. I hope you enjoyed this today on Getting Going on Azure with DataGriff, and I hope to see you next time. As we're now done with our virtual machine, what we're going to do is go back to our resource group, and we're going to clean up by clicking Delete Resource Group, copy the resource group name, paste that in, and click Delete. And this just cleans up our subscription and saves costs. I hope you enjoyed this today on creating an Azure virtual machine using a Quick Start template, and I hope to see you next time on Getting Going on Azure with DataGriff.